So many people believe that being spiritual is all about love and light and rainbows and unicorns and sunshine. But what if I told you that that mindset is what is going to keep you stuck? It will keep you stuck in toxic positivity, spiritual bypassing, and unfortunately, repeating old toxic cycles or trauma patterns. To truly step into your power, you need to embrace a higher calling, not just a spiritual seeker, but more so as a light warrior. I didn't understand this at first, and it held me back for many years. And as I've healed my trauma and strengthened my resilience and grown into my spiritual connection and intimacy with the divine, it has become more apparent than ever. Most of us know by now that we are creators. We are made in the likeness of our creator and therefore have creative capacity. What's less commonly known is that we don't create what we desire, but rather what we think we deserve or from a place of who we think we are. And understanding that I am a spiritual warrior has become the most important identity and energetic posture that I have ever implemented. Now, there's not a lot of information out there about this, so I'm going to share with you how to do this and why it's so important. Because this is what has made my journey in life and business and spiritual growth so much easier. When someone learns to heal themselves and stand firm in the identity of a light warrior, they can push back the darkness while still remaining in love and authority. And this understanding is one of the most powerful tools that I have used to catapult my life and spiritual growth. More powerful than meditation, more powerful than visualization, and even more powerful than affirmations, especially in the specific way that I am about to teach you. If you have ever tried transmuting energy, but you don't feel like you're making a big impact or difference in your life, or you feel like it doesn't go much farther than the four walls of your home, I completely understand. And I was right there with you. Maybe you call in your guidance or your next right steps and you wait for the divine to tell you what to do, but you don't feel like you ever receive anything new. You might hear, have everything you need within you, or you already know what to do. I know how frustrating that can be, and it can feel like you are living in a void, or that God is even silent or not speaking to you. Or maybe you go around spreading love and light, sharing smiles and free compliments, and yet you still get taken advantage of, abused, or used. If you can relate to any of this, you are going to love the guidance on how to become a light warrior and put an end to these patterns. You see, when you're a light worker and you take on the posture of being at the mercy of what is available to you, or having to wait on divine guidance that rarely seems to come, you are spending more time in waiting than you are in divinely guided action. It's not that the divine guidance hasn't come, but rather our posture towards action and towards our position or our identity is what's holding us back. The identity of a light worker is very different from the identity of a light warrior, which means we are going to operate differently. We're going to have different chemistry in our body. We're going to activate different parts of our brain. And of course, this means we are going to move differently through life. As you start thinking differently about who you are, you strengthen new thought patterns, create new neural pathways, and this means you are inputting new inputs into your nervous system, which means a new form of communication with the universe, and therefore, new manifestations. You see, when we first begin our spiritual journey, we are seeking love and light. And for many of us, especially those who endured difficult childhood and maybe even experienced complex trauma as a result, this phase is necessary and even essential for our healing. We need to spend time alone, rediscovering who we are and sort of extracting ourselves from the others. In this phase, we start to set boundaries and we're regaining our energy. We're becoming autonomous and authentic and maybe even adopting new levels of independence. But unfortunately, it is very common to get stuck in this phase. We get stuck in hermit mode under the guise of healing, which is also known as the dorsal vagal state of the nervous system and associated with a fawn or freeze state. Oftentimes, we're still people pleasing and afraid to speak our truth, afraid to come out of the spiritual closet. Maybe we overgive in the name of love and service. And when that doesn't work, we isolate ourselves because either we judge ourselves too harshly and experience social anxiety, or we can't withstand the pain of continuing to get hurt. And so we, as a protection mechanism, judge the normies and say that they're not spiritually aware enough for me to be around. This is why moving from the light worker to the light warrior identity is so unbelievably powerful. When we heal our trauma, we can regain our strength and increase our resilience. But many times light workers don't apply their efforts towards the shadow work and the trauma healing work that is necessary to move from the isolated hidden seeker stage into the light warrior stage. Healing our trauma allows us to regain our strength and increase our resilience so that we're strong enough to stand in the face of the darkness, not just for ourselves, but for the world. We don't want to just avoid negativity. We want to push back against it with the power of love and purpose and spiritual authority. It's not the kind of pushback that creates resistance. We're no longer playing by 3D rules anymore. We are now playing in the 5D realm, which means there are 5D rules to this game. In the 3D game and playing by the 3D rules, what we see in front of us is truth or reality, and we push against it or rail against the darkness in an effort to try to undo it. And yet, when we start to play in the 5D realm by 5D rules, we recognize that what we see around us is just evidence of the past. It is not evidence of the truth or reality. And the way we combat it is through love or pulling our focus and attention away from that thing and putting it towards the thing we want to create. This is where we're truly embodying the light. And in a world that is currently dominated by darkness, this is how we push back. So how do we answer the call to becoming a light warrior, to reclaim our spiritual authority, and to become an active creator in our life? How do we play by the 5D rules instead of the old 3D rules? I'm going to share a 7-step process with you so that you can move through life with certainty and knowing that the things you ask for are already done. This is what has allowed me to move through life with confidence and authority, knowing that God keeps his promises. I know that when I ask, everything I have asked for is already materializing for me. Everything from the purification of my mind, to the liberation and healing of my family, to the thriving network of trauma healing spas and a purpose-based education system and network of schools, not to mention the ability to teach others globally how to create intimacy with the divine and to live out their God-given purpose. It goes without question because I know it is already done and I have the posture of a spiritual warrior who is certain in that promise. No weapon formed against me shall prosper, and things that stand in my way will be removed and replaced by ones who open doors. So how can you do this for yourself too? We can start by recognizing you might still be stuck in phase 1, that phase of love and light that is necessary for our healing, but we do have to become aware of the tendency towards toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing. This phase is necessary to help us recover, like I mentioned, and it can feel difficult to get out of if you have not yet gone through the trauma healing work. So if you're stuck there, that's your first step. Dig into trauma spotting through source tapping. I offer a free training link below where you can learn more about that so you can break free from the hidden seeker phase and step into your light warrior identity. Once we heal, we start to regain our power and we become more willing to speak our truth and maybe even rock the boat. When we regain our power, it's not just to withstand more abuse, but to actively stand up for what is right and challenge the darkness. This is when we move beyond passive healing and move into active creation. Becoming a light worker means that you are learning to use love to push back against the darkness. And let's just remember, the darkness is simply an absence of light. It is not necessarily bad. So we regain our power, our strength, our resilience, and our tolerance, not so that we can avoid the darkness, but so that we can bring love and light to it. As we increase our window of tolerance, we become more resilient and we stop being taken advantage of. And we begin to command our authority in our life. We live in a time where darkness dominates due to humanity's spiritual wounds and unhealed traumas. A light worker's purpose is to push against the collective sickness with higher levels of love and bringing this to conscious awareness. We don't combat darkness with anger or force, but by standing firm in our light and using love as our most powerful weapon. So we can step into the 4th phase of purpose. In every moment, we have the power to create something new through love. We consciously choose to create joy and love and peace and abundance through our actions and our mindsets. Let's remember, your purpose is thriving. And as the tide rises all boats, as you elevate in your life, you are helping assist in creating heaven on earth. And this leads us to finally owning your divine power and authority. You are one with the Creator. Light warriors recognize their oneness with the divine. They know their body is a temple and that they are made in the image and likeness of their Creator, intimately connected with your Creator in every moment. We are learning to lean into faith, and through faith, light warriors trust in their divine guidance, even when it requires discipline or goes against our immediate desires. They trust that all is part of a higher plan to prosper them. And when we learn to stand firm in our authority as a co-creator with the divine, you become untouchable by those lower energies. By invoking your authority, no darkness can overcome you. And this is where we start to kick some demon butt with love and light. There's no room for fear. Darkness, fear, and the lower energies, they must yield to higher vibrations. As a light warrior, you don't need to be aggressive in the 3D sense. You simply stand firm in your authority and faith, calling on the divine to unleash the necessary vengeance in that moment so that you can declare it is already done. The battle isn't fought with aggression, but rather with divine authority. By embodying love and using your spiritual discernment, you fulfill your role as a warrior, and you cast out darkness by default. In a time where darkness seems overwhelming, true light warriors are needed more than ever. We must move beyond passive spirituality and step into our role as active creators, active light warriors, push against the dark through love, faith, and divine authority. It is time to answer the call. If you've been feeling the pull to step up, to be more than a seeker of light, and to be a force for good in this world, this is your sign. The world needs your light. Answer the call and become a light warrior today, because you are a critical component in helping to create heaven on earth. Reclaiming our power and birthright of abundance is necessary. If you desire freedom and co-creation with the divine, but you struggle with abundance, check out this video to learn more on how to remove your abundance blocks and truly embrace real freedom. I love you, my friends, so very much. Namaste.